In 1845, two French farmers achieved an extraordinary feat, overcoming nature's constraints to cultivate fresh tomatoes, melons, and cucumbers. Despite the frozen ground in January, their technique relied solely on horse manure, glass frames, and an ancient Roman secret known for 2 millennia. Their comprehensive guide became the indispensable text for 9,000 gardeners who perpetually supplied a city of 1 million residents without any dependence on fossil fuels. This method was so potent that Paris yielded 8 harvests annually from plots smaller than a typical backyard. Yet, within a single generation, this practice vanished, expunged from agricultural literature, superseded by an industry that sought continuous consumer reliance. We are often led to believe that winter necessitates barren gardens and imported produce. However, what if the sustainable solution to our food supply lies within a 180-year-old book, conveniently overlooked by industrial interests? Welcome back to Nature Hidden Beneath. For newcomers, we delve into concealed scientific knowledge that powerful industries prefer to keep under wraps. Subscribe and activate notifications to ensure you never miss these narratives. Share in the comments if you've ever attempted winter gardening. Now, let's resume our story. Imagine Paris in the 1840s. Cobblestone avenues bustling with horse-drawn carriages, gas lamps softly illuminating the twilight. Throughout the city, small plots, encased in glass frames, radiated an improbable vitality even in the harshest winter months. These were the cultivated spaces of the marachers, Paris's market gardeners. Jean-Jacques Deverne cultivated a 15,000 square metre plot to the north of the city in La Chapelle Saint-Denis. J.G. Moreau maintained a more modest garden within the city walls. Both inherited gardening expertise passed down through generations. In 1842, the Royal Society of Agriculture launched a competition, offering 1,000 francs to document the intensive cultivation methods that had made Parisian gardens renowned. For 3 decades, no one had responded. Moreau and Deverne decided to enter. They dedicated 2 years to meticulously cataloguing their knowledge, every technique, every monthly rotation, that enabled them to harvest when the rest of Europe was gripped by frost. In 1844, they emerged victorious, and their book, Manuel pratique de la culture maraîchère, was published in 1845. Tragically, Davin passed away that same year, but his invaluable expertise endured. The statistics are astonishing, even by contemporary benchmarks. Paris encompassed 1,378 hectares of cultivated land, supported by 9,000 labourers and 1,700 horses. These gardeners utilised 6% of the city's land area and supplied the world's second-largest city with fresh produce year-round. The pivotal technique underpinning this marvel was the couche chaude, or hotbed. This involved first excavating a pit 2 to 3 feet deep, then filling it with fresh horse manure mixed with straw, approximately 2 parts manure to 1 part straw. The mixture was tightly packed and thoroughly watered. Within days, the pile would begin to generate heat, reaching temperatures of 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 120 degrees Fahrenheit, occasionally even 150 degrees Fahrenheit at its core. This phenomenon is not combustion. Rather, billions of unseen microorganisms consume the manure, releasing heat as a byproduct. Once the initial temperature surge subsided, 6 to 8 inches of rich soil were added atop, and the entire structure was covered with glass frames. The glass captured solar radiation during the day and reflected heat at night. The decomposing manure beneath provided consistent bottom heat to the root zone. The outcome was a soil temperature of 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, autonomously maintained, without electricity or fossil fuels, even amidst falling snow. Contemporary scientific understanding corroborates the discoveries made by those 19th century gardeners through empirical trial and error. As organic matter decomposes, mesophilic bacteria initially break down simple sugars, causing the temperature to rise. Around 113 degrees Fahrenheit, thermophilic bacteria, specifically species from the Bacillus and Thermos genera, become dominant. These extremophiles flourish in conditions lethal to most other life forms. A 2023 study in Chemical and Biological Technologies in Agriculture elucidates this process. The thermophilic phase functions optimally at 140 to 158 degrees Fahrenheit. The bacteria literally metabolize organic matter at a molecular level, releasing energy as heat. Peer-reviewed research from 2025 in M Systems confirmed that core thermophilic taxa are primary drivers of heat generation. The scientific consensus is clear. The brilliance of the hotbed lies in its ability to deliver heat precisely where plants require it, the root zone. According to the University of Massachusetts Extension, 75% of greenhouse energy expenses are attributed solely to heating. The marishes attained comparable temperatures without cost, utilizing what was essentially refuse as fuel. Once the heat dissipated, the decomposed manure transformed into exceptional fertilizer, forming a closed loop of zero waste and zero energy expenditure. So, why did this ingenious method fade into obscurity? Two concurrent transformations reshaped the 20th century: the decline of horses and the emergence of the fertilizer industry. In 1907, the United States possessed only 600 tractors. By 1950, this figure had rocketed to 3.4 million. The internal combustion engine eliminated the readily available fuel source that hotbed gardening depended upon. Paris, which had approximately 80,000 horses in 1900, saw them vanish from its streets within 3 decades. No horses meant no manure, and no manure meant no hotbeds. Simultaneously, the Haber-Bosch process commenced industrial-scale operation. Fertilizer production soared from 1 million tons annually to nearly 20 million by 1960. Farmers who once relied on hotbeds were now introduced to a new paradigm. They were compelled to procure fertilizer every spring or risk diminished harvests. The underlying business logic was stark. A hotbed represents a one-time investment, with its decomposed manure automatically fertilizing for the subsequent season. In contrast, synthetic fertilizer necessitates annual purchase. The subscription model was integrated, and each year brought another invoice. Agricultural publications quietly redirected their focus, rendering hotbed techniques antiquated. By the 1940s, practical research into intensive methods had ceased. The forgotten manual became a dusty relic, and the last marachers retired from their profession. The knowledge that had sustained Paris for 3 centuries devolved into a historical curiosity. However, not everyone forgot. In 1974, a young American farmer named Eliot Coleman embarked on what he termed a winter vegetable pilgrimage to Paris. There, he met Louis Savot, one of the last living practitioners of traditional Parisian market gardening. Mr. Savor had acquired these methods from his father, who in turn learned from his father, forming an unbroken chain of knowledge extending back to the Golden Age. Coleman transplanted this knowledge to his farm in Harborside, Maine, a location sharing Paris's 44-degree north latitude. Four-Season Farm became his experimental ground. He integrated hotbeds with unheated hoop houses, testing over 30 cold, hardy vegetables. His books, The New Organic Grower, Four-Season Harvest, and The Winter Harvest Handbook, have sold hundreds of thousands of copies. Others followed suit. Jean-Martin Fortier in Quebec published The Market Gardener. Ferme du Bec Hellouin in Normandy evolved into a research hub for bio-intensive techniques. Home gardeners across North America are now constructing hotbeds in zones 3 through 6, proudly sharing images of January lettuce harvests. The scientific principles remain as effective today as they were in 1845. The bacteria are unchanged. The thermodynamics are unchanged. Only our collective memory shifted, and now economic drivers are once again evolving. In 2022 and 2023, European greenhouse cultivators faced a critical juncture as energy costs surged. Over half of Europe's tomato greenhouses fell dormant. In the northeastern United States, growers increased prices by 30 to 40% to offset soaring fuel expenses. Suddenly, the age-old question gained new urgency. What if we didn't need fossil fuels to grow food in winter? Constructing a hotbed is simpler than many imagine. Choose a south-facing, well-drained location. Orient the frame east to west to maximize winter sun exposure. Dig 24 to 36 inches deep. Prepare your fuel. Use fresh horse manure, no older than 6 weeks, mixed with straw. 2 parts manure to 1 part carbon. Crucial warning. Inquire if the horses were fed hay treated with persistent herbicides. Some herbicides endure composting and can damage plants years later. Stack and turn the mixture over a 10-day period. When steam emanates and heat intensifies within, it is ready. Fill your pit to a depth of 18 to 24 inches, packing it firmly and watering thoroughly. Add 6 to 8 inches of compost on top. Cover with glass or clear plastic. Old storm windows serve admirably. Insert a soil thermometer. Wait until the temperature stabilizes at 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit before planting. This typically takes 5 to 10 days. Prioritize fast maturing crops like lettuce, spinach, and radishes. On sunny days, ventilate by slightly opening the cover, a skill the ancient Marachas considered paramount. Your hotbed will generate beneficial heat for 2 to 3 months. When spring arrives, the decomposed material transforms into nutrient-rich fertilizer. The material costs are less than $50. Manure is often available for free from local stables. The most significant component is your time.